Hi there everyone, Skip the End here with another video. I know it's been quite a few months since my last one, almost around 3 months to the day. It's now Wednesday the 8th of June and I've got, as you can see, well you can't really see it right now, but you will see a lot of games that I have to show you on the PS4, PS3, a PC game and also a Wii game as well. So I'm going to start probably with the most obvious choice, and that is Uncharted 4. Now I did actually splash out and get the collector's edition. See this box. I have already unboxed it, mainly because with this camera here I can't really split the video, so I can't really sort of edit it into like me like unboxing it, because otherwise it would and as it is, it would take a good like 10-15 minutes for me to like unbox it anyway, with just the raw video. So I have already opened it up. It comes with, just bear with me, some download codes here, which I've already downloaded, so don't even try. It's just a few multiplayer skins, which is a nice addition, but it's a nice little bonus, but it's nothing more than that. It also comes with a art book, which I'm not going to show you because it's very spoilerific, if that's even a word. And it also comes with the game itself, and a steelbook. For you. There you go, just very basic instructions you can see there. Oh, that's the back. If you can see that, there we go. But yeah, I love the front cover of this. It's like if Far Cry Blood Dragon was to ever come out physically. This is what I would imagine the front cover being like. So yeah. And finally, the main reason people got this edition was the rather lovely statue of Nathan Drake, as you can see right here. I don't know if you can see it, just like a lot of very sort of details, ruffles there, a few marks, just some little things like the sort of pocket, like sort of strap here, and the sort of pistol and the watch, and a little bit of terrain there. Just everything's just really well detailed. It's what you would expect from like a proper statue being on sale on its own, and yeah, it's definitely worth it if you got the money to get like the collector's edition. Really cool. I put it up just up on my shelf just over there, which you can't really see. But what do I think about? Sorry about that, everyone, just got a momentary distraction there. So what do I think about Uncharted 4 itself? Well, for me, not playing the games when they first came out, I got a PS3 quite late, around sort of 2012, before, like around sort of a year or so before The Last of Us came out. So I don't really have like the nostalgia for like the previous Uncharted games. However, I will say that for me it's right up there with Uncharted 2, because Uncharted 2, when I first played that, just absolutely blew me away. There's so many great set pieces, so many memorable characters and memorable moments. 3 for me kind of felt like a step down from 2, but 4 is definitely, most definitely a step up from 3. But yeah, when you go back to the previous Uncharted games after playing this one, you really do appreciate how much care and detail has gone into Thief's End. It is that impressive, and if this is truly how the games, this series is going to end, then it ended on a perfect note, in my opinion. There is apparently one story DLC that's coming out. I have my own theories of what that's going to be, but I don't want to give anything away again because of spoilers. But yeah, if this is how the main game is going to end, then I'm more than happy for it to end it that way. Next up, we have Valkyria Chronicles Europa Edition. Unfortunately, I couldn't afford the Champions League edition. But this it's called Europa Edition because it's set in a fictional war in a place called Europa in the 1930s. The gameplay is very, because I played it on, it was originally a PS3 title, being remastered for the PS4. It's sort of like Advance Wars meets Fire Emblem, kind of. But yeah, you have like this battlefield where your goal is to complete like missions, like defeat all enemies, be it that infantry, tanks, whatever. With a variety of different characters. There are a few sort of main characters plus a few sort of side characters, almost in the style of say like Peace Walker, where you sort of gain like new members and you sort of use their skills in the battlefield. So yeah, it's a really interesting game. I'm kind of glad that they've remastered this. Unlike certain other games which were quite popular, this one was kind of niche. So I'm glad that it's getting its new audience. So yeah. Next we have Tales from the Borderlands, a Telltale game series. Obviously made from Telltale, the makers of Walking Dead, Wolf Among Us, among other games. Obviously this is based in the Borderlands universe. You play as a couple of new characters, Reese, voiced by Troy Baker, and Fiona, voiced by Laura Bailey. And one definite plus about this game is there's a lot of star power. I'm not saying like celebrities and whatever, but in terms of like game voice acting talent, there's like a lot of star power with Troy and Laura, but also other voice actors like Dave Fennoy, Ashley Johnson, Patrick Warburton, and yeah, they all do fantastic jobs with their characters. And I'll be honest, the first couple of episodes I wasn't really immersed in the game, but once I got to episode 3 and beyond that's when I really started to appreciate how entertaining and funny this game is. So yeah, very happy to have this in my collection. It was actually a game exclusive for around sort of £15–20, so yeah, definitely pick it up. Next up we have another contender like Uncharted 4 for my game of the year, in the end of this year, and that is Dark Souls 3. This is the Apocalypse edition, which is basically the Steelbook edition. I'm just going to open this up now. That is the front right there. That is the back. And that is the inside there. Comes with a little leaflet from Namco Bandai. The soundtrack. And there's also a little sort of starter guide there as well. What do I think about Dark Souls 3? For me it's kind of on par with Bloodborne, and for me Bloodborne was my favourite game of last year. So but I feel that they're different enough where you can appreciate them both. I feel that Dark Souls 3, even though you can play it solo and have a great time, I feel that in co-op with friends it's even more fun. That's it's just my opinion. But with Bloodborne, I feel as a solo experience it's a lot better than with people in co-op. So but yeah, really immersive. There's a lot of new sort of traits, like special skills with certain weapons that you can use that can like enhance the gameplay, especially in PvP and against certain bosses as well. And yeah, really very deep. Take you quite a while to finish. For me, it took around 50 hours, maybe a little bit more than that. But there is the option, obviously, to go to New Game Plus. I've already been it twice, and looking to do it a third time at some point. But yeah, really good game. If you're not a fan of the previous Dark Souls games, then you may not like it as as much as like people who are into that series, but it's still a fun game nonetheless. Next up we have. Oh, actually, before I carry on, I actually forgot one thing about Uncharted. I also got the strategy guide, mainly because of the treasures that you have to find in the game. They're really hard to find on your own. So I thought I'd get it. It was fairly cheap anyway. So yeah, happy to have that. And back to where I was going with. Next up we have Overwatch Origins Edition. Only cost a few extra pounds for me compared to the standard edition on Amazon, so I was happy to pick this up. Comes with obviously the game itself, a commemorative sort of medal here, and there's a little container here, there's a little badge. Just get that out for you. There we are. But yeah, Overwatch, it's all the rage at the moment, isn't it? But yeah, I enjoy it probably as much as Plants vs Zombies, Garden Warfare. It's basically, for those who don't know, it's a multiplayer only first-person shooter / MOBA. Objective based, as I was going to say. Very similar both in art style and game design, sort of like Team Fortress 2, which is another pretty big game from a few years ago. A lot of variety of characters. I personally use, as you saw from my intro, Diva just there. But the main what we have to understand when playing this is that you can't really just stick to one character. You have to know where you can find like a weak spot in the enemy team, and switch characters on the fly and try to utilize that character effectively in like any situation. So at one point you can be a sort of tank character, the next minute you can be like a healer and just like help everyone out in doing their job and taking out the enemy team. So but yeah, it's a really entertaining game. It's a little bit light in terms of like content, like maps and game types, but I'm sure that that'll be included later on with like free DLC and whatnot. As Blizzard, like, you know, they're quite good with their franchises, sort of growing that sort of games, their universe as time goes on. But yeah, other than that, I really enjoyed this, and I'm enjoying this still. So yeah, really good. I'd probably wait for a price drop because it is a little bit expensive for a multiplayer only game, but yeah, I'd definitely pick it up at some point. Next we have Need for Speed. Now this was another game that I didn't really have a lot of nostalgia for back in like the PS2 era, with like Need for Speed Underground and all the other games in the Need for Speed series. But I do still enjoy this. It just feels very by the numbers to me. Mainly because I don't have, as I said, any nostalgia for like the previous games, so I was more of a burnout guy. But it's still it's functional. It's fun. It's somewhat fun, but again, I've only played it for a little bit, so I'm sure once I get to like tuning my cars and making my sort of driving experiences better on this, then I'll probably enjoy it a bit more. But as of now, it's not bad, but nothing special. Next we have Ratchet and Clank. This is a 3D platformer, a sort of remake or reimagining of the original Ratchet and Clank on the PS2, a game that I do have a lot of nostalgia for and really enjoyed it. Also, sort of has elements from the recent Ratchet and Clank movie as well, which is ironic because the movie actually bombed, but the game actually sold really well, which is really bizarre. But anyway, but yeah, it's you play as both Ratchet, who is a Lombax sort of engineer who wants to be a superhero, and Clank, who's a very intelligent robot who has several gadgets, and is for me my favourite character because he just has so many great lines. But yeah, it's a really interesting platformer. Loads of different weapons and gadgets that you can use. Really sort of colourful and bright. It almost feels like you're playing a Pixar movie. And yeah, I can't wait to see what Insomniac do next with the series. I would love personally to have the PS3 titles, Tools of Destruction and Crack in Time, remastered port for PS4. I think that would be really cool. So that's just me. But yeah, Crack in Time was another one that was one of my favourites in the series. Next up we have Journey Collector's Edition. Now I understand why people appreciate Journey so much, but I can understand as well why people feel it's a bit overrated. I'm sort of like in the middle, on the fence, because I do appreciate how good it looks, how immersive it is. There's like not a lot of like menus like on the screen. It's all very sort of clean, very beautiful as well. My sort of criticism is, one, it's quite short, and two, even though the story, like, you interpret it yourself, it felt very basic, very bare bones. Whereas, like, for example, like I regard Ico as one of my favourite games of all time, and that was another game that had very little very little story, very little dialogue, and was sort of similar to this. However, the difference is you felt like in between those moments you had like a lot of puzzles to solve, a little bit of like challenge here and there, whereas with Journey it's sort of you walking from Hi there, sorry, I got cut off again. But yeah, with Journey you feel like you're walking from A to B, and it just doesn't feel quite as fulfilling personally. I'm not writing off this collection just yet because I haven't played Flower or Flow, so I'll await my full judgment until I play both those games. But it's okay, but I've played better. Next up we have Oddworld New and Tasty, Abe's Odyssey. Now this was primarily a digital release. However, a company called Limited Run Games, they basically take games that would normally just say digital and never get a physical release, and then make a sort of limited print of games like this. And when I found out that Oddworld New and Tasty was getting a physical release from them, I jumped at the chance. So I didn't care about like the obviously the price of the physical game, plus also the price of the shipping as well. It didn't matter as long as I got a physical copy. I'm happy. But yeah, New and Tasty is a 2D. For those who don't know, it's a 2D platformer, puzzle platformer from Oddworld Inhabitants. Originally started as a PS1 title, probably one of the most popular PS1 titles on the system, and yeah, it's been like Ratchet and Clank has been remastered and reimagined with new levels and sort of the Midakans who are sort of apes race and like other sort of Midakan prisoners you have to rescue. They've sort of their placements have been changed from the original game as well, so it adds a little bit more of a challenge for even for those who played the previous games on the PS1. So yeah, it's a really interesting, fun title, and definitely worth picking up. Okay, next up I have some Wii U titles to show you. The first one I haven't actually unsealed yet, but that is Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. Now I did play Donkey Kong Country Returns on the original Wii, and I enjoyed it. However, the sort of waggle effect with the Wiimote and the nunchuck, I wasn't a huge fan of. So I'm hoping that there's an option where you can just play like class Pro Controller or like the Wii U pad. I feel that'd be a much more enjoyable experience for a guy like me. I'm sort of old school. I'm not really a fan of like motion control. But yeah, looks interesting. It's obviously snow and ice seems to be a big feature with this. So yeah, it should be interesting. I like the Donkey Kong Country series, so yeah, it should be right on my street. Next up we have Super Mario 3D World, which probably one of the more sort of popular titles on the Wii U at the moment. I wasn't a big fan of 3D Land on the 3DS. I don't know, I just felt a little bit basic and didn't really have like enough. I like sort of levels that are quite long rather than short. But this one has like at least has a little bit more variety in terms of like power ups, and certainly looks a lot better in HD too. Obviously, the co-op is like a big feature of this. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of people to sort of play local co-op with, I'm afraid. So, but yeah, I mean, like with Rayman Legends, which I have on PS4. Even though it was just like me playing on my own, I still had fun with it. So, and I'm definitely having fun with this so far. So yeah. Next we have the wonderful 101 from Platinum Games, one of my favourite developers. This is kind of sort of like Pikmin, where you control you have like a main character, but a sort of superhero who can control like up to like hundreds of other characters at the same time, which is pretty unique. And there's not only can you attack enemies like giant mechs and whatnot, but also you can solve certain puzzles as well. And it's one of the more unique titles on the Wii U, and yeah, I'm glad I picked it up. It was around sort of the £20 mark, so yeah, definitely worth it. And finally on the Wii U, I got Scribblenauts Unlimited. Now, before Mario Maker, this was as close as you could get in terms of looking for sort of games with a more sort of creative side. This is very much like a Little Big Planet, for example. You can't really sort of mess around with the levels itself, but you can in terms of like the sort of base area. But you can like you basically type in certain words, put them together at times, and just really go wild with what you can create on the levels in this game. And basically, you sort of help NPCs in like each level in order to earn stars, and because the sort of I believe this story is you play as this character right here, and your sort of sister is turned to stone because it's really weird, like because they're sort of quite lazy or very sort of mischievous, and he's basically tasked with like earning stars in order to sort of bring her back to life, and it's a very sort of bizarre, very basic story, but this sort of levels and what you can sort of mess around with in said levels is really fun. So yeah, I definitely recommend it. It's one, again, like Wonderful 101 is one of the more sort of niche titles. Right, PC game. This is like Ico, which I mentioned earlier, as another one of my favourite games of all time. I didn't really play many PC games, but I loved point-and-click adventure games, and this is my absolute favourite, and that is the Curse of Monkey Island. I actually got this, I don't know if you can see, from Oxfam for around £8. £8 exactly, as you can see. Once again, you play as Guybrush Threepwood. He's a wannabe pirate. The story behind this one is he finds this ring on Pirate LeChuck's ship. He gives it to Elaine, his sort of love interest, and he puts the ring on her, and it actually creates a curse that turns her into a gold statue. And you basically have to find out a way to break said curse, and yeah, the sort of game goes on from there. It's very if you've played games like the previous Monkey Island games, or Grim Fandango, which is also on like the PS4 and PC remastered. Actually, speaking of which, this deserves a remaster for me. They don't really have to mess around with the graphics or anything. Just port it to the PS4 and I'll be happy. Make it happen, Double Fine. But yeah, it's a really fun point-and-click adventure game. It is what it is, and yeah, I for me it's one of my personal favourites, and I would love it to get a remaster one day, but we'll see what happens. Okay, the one Wii title I got this month, well, this month over the last couple of months, this is Punch Out. Now, I did have Punch Out previously, but I ended up getting rid of it because my initial impressions were kind of disappointing. Because I was hoping it was going to be like Wii Boxing, where you can sort of like properly swing the Wiimote and nunchuck and sort of box that way. How it's sort of more button based. I don't know if I don't know if in the options you can sort of configure it to work like Wii Boxing, but even so, I did like the art style, the sort of character design. It's pretty much like the previous Punch Out games, only on the Wii. So yeah, I hope that Nintendo carry on with the series, because I feel that it's one of those games like F-Zero, like Metroid, where it still has like a lot of life in it. So I do feel it's worth carrying on with future consoles. Next up, we've got 5 PS3 games to finish off with. I'm going to start with Call of Duty 3, one that I've not played before. I usually try and avoid the trail Call of Duties, because I'm not really a big fan of trail other than Spider-Man 2, but I've heard good things about this one. I played Call of Duty Finest Hour and Call of Duty 2 Big Red one on the PS2, and of course Modern Warfare Call of Duty 4 on the 360, but never Call of Duty 3, so I definitely want to see how this one compares to the other ones. Next up, because the European Championships are coming up shortly, I wanted to buy like a football game on the cheap, and I decided to get FIFA World Cup 2010 South Africa, mainly because I played this on the 360 and I absolutely loved it. I just loved how it went for a more arcadey feel rather than what EA were doing at the time, which were more sort of simulation, more sort of serious and a sort of slow pace, where this one was like really more, yeah, it just felt more arcadey, more like fast paced to me, and I really had fun with this. I would go online and I would play as like lower ranked teams like Israel and what was the other one, Malta. And I played it. I think I remember playing a guy who was playing in Spain, and I scored the opening goal with Malta, and I eventually got battered like 5 or 6-1, but he sort of messaged me and said, good on you for like trying like a smaller team. And yeah, I like this sort of experiment and like challenge myself. I don't really play many sort of football games anymore, but at the time I was quite into them. Next we have Dead to Rights Retribution. This is the third game in a series that started on the PS2. You play as Jack Slate, who is a sort of renegade cop, and you have a dog sidekick here called Shadow. And it's a action sort of shooter, third person shooter with stealth elements, and yeah, from what I've seen it doesn't look too bad. Not amazing, but not terrible either. Not played it yet, so yeah, looking forward to see how that is. Right, next up, because I recently, well, a few months ago, bought Rock Bands, I decided to my goal is sort of pick up every sort of main Rock Band on the PS3, like including like games or any peripherals, and I do have Rock Band 1, which I bought for a few quids in game, and I've not played it because obviously I don't have like the guitar yet, but sort of working towards that. And finally, a game I actually played a few years ago. I rented it when I had like a Love Film account, and that is Dante's Inferno, which is pretty much like God of War. For me, it's kind of a lower tier God of War. I'd probably say sort of like the PSP games almost, but it's based on the poem, I believe it is. And you basically go through 9 different circles of hell. The worst one is like near the end of the game, where it basically becomes like a challenge room, or like do certain attacks to complete the level, which I thought was kind of lazy. But other than that, I did kind of enjoy it. There's a light and dark system where you can use holy attacks to get a good ending and level up those traits, or go for sort of more visceral kills and get a bad. I don't know if there was a good or bad thing in this game, but it was definitely a lot harder going the through the light side. It's very sort of similar to Infamous in that sense. But yeah, it's a nice, if you can get it for like around £5 to £10, I'd definitely recommend giving it at least one go. And yeah, that is it for my collection update for Wednesday the 8th of June. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed my new face reveal, and yeah, I'm looking to use this camera a lot more in the future with collection updates and let's plays. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.